アイカツの大空あかりです。プリパラのマナカラーラです。
I've always been a fan of musical anime. From choirs to live music, there's one genre that always keeps me close. The massive CG idol empire. Nothing excites me more than watching a weekly anime with new songs and outfits every episode. For over a decade, that has been Aikatsu and the Pretty series, two massive franchises that recently came together for a movie, Aikatsu X Pripara. This video will walk you through both franchises, highlighting vision, character, and story. Let's explore how this massive empire came to be. In this section, we're gonna summarize each season with as few spoilers as possible. If you've already watched them, feel free to skip ahead, because there is content that's a little bit more meta. Pretty Rhythm came first. It's a children's idol anime aimed at promoting the arcade game. The series itself is centered on the Prism show, a magical ice skating concert with one woman at its top, the Prism Queen. Each season follows a different cast, so let's break it down. Aurora Dream follows Ida, a clumsy girl who loves fashion. One day, she's scouted to join the Prism show and paired with Rhythm, a girl who wants to do the Aurora Rising. They're eventually joined by Mion, a talented top idol who likes to work alone. The average episode goes something like this. The girls will go to the beach or a cafe or some fun place to hang out. There's gonna be lots of gags, and the second half will feature an appropriate outfit and performance. It's light on substance, but pretty fun. The costumes change pretty often, but there's not too many songs. Overall, it's a comedic anime with some serious moments, specifically Rhythm's storyline. The story also features 3 love interests of varying quality, but the romance is ignorable. What you should know about Pretty Rhythm is that the story is often moved by the adult cast, so the main characters are rarely driving the plot. Despite that, it's a decent watch if you're into slice of life and idols. The second season, Dear My Future, is even lighter. This time, we follow Mia and her energetic cast of friends. Mia's goal is to beat Ida, the previous season's protagonist. She's accompanied by Reina, Karin, and Ayami, who don't get nearly as much focus. The cast is massive, with about 9 main characters, in addition to the previous season's cast. The main rival is Hein, who is Mia's childhood best friend from Korea. She's part of the unit Purity, along with Somin, Shiyun, Jaeyoung, and Chaeyoung. Neither of the members are explored in depth, which is a recurring theme. Dear My Future is a really hard sell. It's got less music, less story, and it really doesn't get going till episode 38, but I promise if you stick around, it will get very entertaining in that final quarter. The final season of Pretty Rhythm is Rainbow Live. This one follows 7 girls aiming to be Prism Queen while dealing with their own family situations. It's not connected to the previous season, so you can watch this on its own. Meet Ayasenaru, a small girl with big dreams. She's joined by An, a girl with a strict father, and Ito, a child of divorce. This season is all about family drama. It's pretty good too, fan favorite. I covered all 3 seasons on the channel, so check those out if you want a full review. The major conflicts of Rainbow Live all come from the characters' family and relationships. Each episode will focus on the performing character, exploring how their home life affects who they are now. For example, the character Wakana moved a lot as a child. As a result, she doesn't invest in her relationships because she might get ripped away from them at any moment. This makes her a pretty avoidant character who can't express her true feelings. Throughout the series, you watch how she clashes with other characters who are more straightforward, and we watch her grow in small gradual steps up until her personal finale in around episode 48. If you're a fan of slow, gradual character arcs and character drama, I think you'll love this one. Some people feel it gets too dramatic, but I feel like that's just what the series is going for. Overall, Pretty Rhythm has a grounded sense of fashion, strong character drama, and vividly abstract imagery for a kids show. If that sounds up your alley, you should check it out. So what about Aikatsu? Aikatsu's first series ran for 4 seasons, following Ichigo in the first half and Akari in the second. The series premise is quite simple. One day, Ichigo, an ordinary girl, is invited to Starlight Academy by her friend Aoi. Together they audition and begin their idol activities, hence the name Aidoru Katsudo, Aikatsu for short. The average episode follows an audition, which the girls prepare for before an appropriate performance in new clothes. There's a lot of characters with their own songs and outfits, such as the cold beauty Ran, the gothic Yurika, the mysterious moon, Kanzaki Mizuki. There's also a lot of new songs, but the CG is really bad in the beginning. Every now and then we meet a new idol bringing new songs and outfits to the show, but importantly, a new rival. 2 seasons in, we switch over to Akari, who is Ichigo's successor. She brings along a new cast with her own depth. Akari Generation's cast features the cool beauty Sumire, the peppy Hinaki, the passionate Jiri, the cool Rin, and the sweet Madoka. Unfortunately, this series was cut short in its 2nd season, so it's only 76 episodes compared to the prior 100. There's also a movie which I recommend watching around episode 112. Overall, there's a strong focus on hard work and worthiness, becoming the kind of girl who deserves to stand on stage, who deserves to be a part of this academy. The series' appeal is in glamorizing the industry for little girls. The characters are somewhat mature and act like tiny adults, allowing kids to see themselves as mature professionals. If you like competitive sports anime and slice of life, you will probably enjoy this. Before we move on, you should probably know that the Pretty series has a boys spin-off aimed at older women. King of Prism has several movies, a one-core anime, and I'm guessing another movie. It's a little confusing. It's one of the most bizarre entries in the franchise, so much so that I'm just going to leave a watch order up here and move on. The next entry in the Pretty series is Pripara, by far its most popular. The series did a complete 180, moving toward straightforward idols kinda like Aikatsu. The character drama was toned down in exchange for a much zanier tone. That's not to say it's bad. Pripara is incredible. Across 3 seasons we follow Monica Lala, an ordinary girl who gets a ticket to Pripara, the virtual paradise where girls can be anything. Pripara's major focus is on identity and friendship. Pripara is a place for tall girls, short girls, fat girls, thin girls, black girls, white girls, and pretty much everyone else. The series has its shortcomings, which we covered in this video, but overall the message is that every girl is special. There isn't really a standard episode format beyond character shenanigans. Every single one has such a strong personality and gags that I bet everyone watching this can find a favorite. The first season follows Lala, a loud girl who finds a place for her voice in Pripara. She's joined by Mirei, the disciplinarian who gets to let loose, and Sophie, a disabled idol who learns to show her weakness. There's lots of other characters, but I'd rather not spoil what happens. Pripara can be watched alone, but the experience is slightly richer when you've seen Pretty Rhythm. It's kinda just good to know where a lot of these tropes are coming from. I recommend starting with Pripara though, because it's got a really strong vision and mass appeal. But it is incredibly long. It's over 140 episodes, with 2 sequel series, Idol Time and Idol Land, which are 50 and 12 episodes respectively. As for the movies, just watch them based on the matching season. They're not very canon, so you'll be fine. Aikatsu's second iteration was Stars. This series follows Niji no Yume joining 4-Star Academy with her best friend Koharu. The new school has 4 main tracks: song class, dance class, beauty class, and acting class. The top students of each division make up the S4. This is Niji no Yume's goal. The series has 2 seasons and pretty tight storytelling. I'm a little biased, but I like the effort put into displaying each character's strength. Unlike the prior series, some are singers, like the rocker Laura and the gothic Lily. Others dance, like the energetic Yuzu. Some want to model, like the rival sisters Yozora and Mahiru. And others want to be in movies, like the cat girl Ako and her strict mentor. It's a pretty colorful cast of talent. Aikatsu Stars is just a really beautiful story. It's probably the darkest the Aikatsu series gets. It's very dramatic, but I do love character drama, so it's my favorite one. Following Pripara's success, the Pretty series leaned into that comedic tone with Kiratto Prichan. It follows Mirai and Emo, childhood best friends, starting their own streaming channel. The average episode follows them trying something new, streaming it, and then performing it. It's not a very strong premise, but it was current for the time and opens up the story. Prichan has a whopping 153 episodes. That's 3 seasons with no movies. I think it's a very cute slice of life show. As you can tell, I'm not the biggest fan of this one. Cute show, nice characters, but there's not much in the way of stakes or drama. The characters are the best part, with the main rivals in season 1 being this delusional rich girl and her cool rock guitarist best friend. They're all big personalities, which really keeps the show rolling in its slower moments. I feel similarly about Aikatsu Friends, but I do have more praise for it. Aikatsu Friends is a squeaky clean story with lots of Yuri vibes. The main character is Aina Yuki, who wants to make 1 million friends. She joins Mio, an experienced idol, and together they form a friends unit, hence the name Aikatsu Friends. It's basically an idol duo, but it's called a friends unit. And the best friends are diamond friends. Ooh, is that a wedding reference? Probably. Together, Aina and Mio are aiming to be diamond friends, and along the way they meet the following rivals. There is Maika, a mature girl that loves to dance, Emma, an energetic lacrosse player, and the gothic twins, Sakuya and Kaguya. All these girls are aiming to beat Mirai and Karen, the reigning diamond friends. I know I said I don't like this season, but it's got some of the most wholesome and heartfelt moments. If you like Yuri and fluffy girls content, you'll probably like this one. It's also a very safe place to start because it gives you the basics of an Aikatsu season without really... It's just very approachable, in my opinion. The CGI is also beautiful. This series was followed by Aikatsu on Parade, a 25-episode all-star series, which features all the characters from the past season. Do not watch this one, you will get spoiled, and I mean, it's a huge cast, so I feel like you're not getting the best of each character. It doesn't leave a great first impression, so don't watch that one yet. Waccha Primagi feels like a spiritual successor to Rainbow Live. It's a character-focused story with a slightly mature tone. Our main character is Hibino Matsuri, a mature girl who meets the childish cat girl, Miyamu. Together they join the Primagi, a magical performance which collects Waccha, a magical form of energy. Waccha Primagi has lots of fun characters. There's the sporty and energetic Hina, the melancholic Amane, the sweet-faced Miriki, the shy Lemon, and the robotic Auru. Each of these rivals has their own arc and mascot, which makes the show really fun. There's no standard episode formula, so like in Rainbow Live, it's a bunch of character drama unfolding. There's also a lot of story going on in the background, specifically a conflict between the magical world and Earth over who gets to use the magical energy, Waccha, which they collect during the concerts. I think the CG is at its best, and so is the storytelling. I wouldn't recommend this as a start because it's really going to raise your standards and give you a very specific impression of the series. It's the kind of thing I recommend watching once you've watched the other basic pretty series like Kiratto Prichan or Pripara. The most recent Aikatsu anime was Aikatsu Planet, and it was also the shortest series at only 25 episodes with a movie. The fandom pays it dust, but I'm here to defend it. Aikatsu Planet is a live-action anime hybrid centered on the titular world Aikatsu Planet, a place where you can be who you want to be. Does it sound like Pripara? Yes, it certainly does. Otohamao is a regular girl who has to fill in for the world's top idol, Hana. So the way it works is that once you enter Aikatsu Planet, you have an avatar, and the top idol is an avatar called Hana, but the woman behind her has disappeared, so they need someone to take her place. When Hana's manager spots Mao dancing, she's reminded of the top idol and decides this girl is good enough to take her place. It's a pretty fun premise, probably the most interesting way that a series starts, and I'll admit that while it's slow at the start, it really does get going. This one feels like a spiritual successor to the original Aikatsu. There's a main cast of 4, and the storytelling does have some parallels to that. I think Aikatsu Planet is a great place to start because it's got elements of what each and every season of Aikatsu does best, but also being short enough that you'll get an impression of whether you like the series or not without spending too much time. So, the average episode of Aikatsu Planet follows an audition where one of the characters gets a new dressia, aka the magical animals that turn into clothes, and it's a very cute low-stakes series. The other characters include Aduri, a quirky model, Beat, the student council president with a rebellious side, Shiori, who's Mao's best friends, and a bunch of other rivals. Once again, the CG just gets better and better. It's actually breathtaking watching these performances. The live action acting is not the best, but I think it's fine. Starry Planet were really trying. It just sucks that it got cancelled so early because we only got 25 episodes, and the most recent project, Aikatsu Academy, is a VTubing project. So if you want to know if Aikatsu is for you, you could start with Planet. It's only 25 episodes and most of it is available in very easy to find places. Currently, the Pretty series is going strong with some of the best sales yet. Himitsu no Aipri is the current airing anime. I believe it's in its second season. I think it's pretty bad. I don't think I'm alone in that. The CGI is worse, the story is worse, but I'm still gonna give it a fair description. Aozora Himari wants to make 10,000 friends, but is too shy. One day, she makes her debut in the magical Aipri, a virtual concert world. You get the gist at this point. But now she has to keep it a secret from her friend Mitsuki, who is also an Aipri performer. The average episode in season 1 follows the girls exploring Aipri with some kind of secret involved. The writing is a lot simpler, with most conclusions feeling dead on arrival, but there are a few emotional moments every few episodes. I may sound biased, which I am, but this show is one of the biggest drops in quality between franchises. I would recommend that you don't even start with this one, because it does not represent what the series is capable of. Anyway, the other characters include the mysterious Princess Tsumugi and the student council. There's the bold Sakura, the elegant Tamaki, the energetic Airi, and the nerdy Rinrin. There's also Chi, one of the best characters. She's got a lot of energy. She carries the show's quieter scenes. So, I don't know if anyone would want to start with this one, but if you do, just be aware that the characters don't get much exploration. It's very different, you know? It's very different from the other series. It feels like a cheaper imitation of Pripara, so if this one sounds like it's up your alley, I just personally think you should start with Pripara because it is doing what Aipri is doing much better. So now that we've summarized pretty much every anime from both franchises, we know what's happening on the screen, but what was happening behind it? Both Aikatsu and Pripara began as arcade games, so let's examine their history. Our story starts in 2010 with the release of an arcade game known as Pretty Rhythm Miniskirt. The game was released by Takara Tomy, who wanted to develop a new girls game. According to Daisuke Kato, the company reached out to Sin Sophia to develop a game aimed at young girls. Kato oversaw game development and explained its core vision, combining elements that girls liked such as dancing, skating, and jumping into a 5-minute game loop. This is the foundation of the Pretty Rhythm arcade series. Aikatsu's own development was a little different. It began in the spring of 2011 when Tsuyoshi Hirose noticed the popularity of AKB48 among children. In addition to the success of fashion and cosmetic brands for elementary girls, the market was ripe for a franchise that could have it all. In an interview with female game staff, Yukie Nakamura explains the game's development. Bandai had a series of arcade game machines known as Data Cardass. These would scan... I'm sorry, the name is still a little funny to me. These would scan special Cardass cards into the machine to collect data. And in an interview with a recent movie, Harada states that creating a play cycle was really difficult. After all, with this arcade model, once you get the card that you want, there's not as much incentive to go back. This makes popular characters a pretty big risk, because once their card is acquired, there's less incentive to keep playing. Aikatsu was developed with this in mind, with original characters who depended on the cards themselves, hence the phrase, "To idols, cards are life itself." These cards were used to dress up the characters and designed by Kayuko with help from Nakamura. As for the character designs themselves, Aikatsu was aiming for relatable hairstyles due to the older audience. Not adults, just older children like 7 to 9. Ichigo is a character with blonde hair, and while this may seem mundane, it actually caused a lot of controversy behind the scenes because it seems too fantastic. For the age they were targeting, research showed that girls preferred relatable characters. And this is a major difference between Aikatsu's designs and the Pretty series. Even iconic characters like Yurika with her vampire persona were seen as a major risk. The same feeling is carried into the music, which is meant to introduce kids to different genres. It's still kid-friendly music, but it's a lot less childish than the Pretty series. So far we've been talking a lot about Pretty Rhythm, but this is a video about Aikatsu and Pripara, so when do we get to that? Following the end of Pretty Rhythm, a short series named Pretty Rhythm All-Star Selection aired, and this introduced the world to Monica Lala, the face of one of the biggest girls anime to exist. Pripara was a massive hit, airing for 4 seasons, 4 movies, and even having a recent spin-off. So what made it such a success? Well, depends on who you ask. Personally, I think the shift from ice skating to a generic idol concept gave it a much broader appeal. Additionally, the anime story changed a lot. Gone are the dramatic storylines in favor of comedic antics and big personalities. Pripara is sent as a girl's paradise where all are accepted, and this is a pretty good premise. The name Pripara came from an early meeting, mainly because it sounded good. In an interview with various staff, Yamamoto describes Pripara as a place where anyone can shine. This made it a pretty daunting task to depict because they needed to balance the limitless potential of Pripara with a realistic and grounded element. Pretty Rhythm took place in the real world and was a little more grounded. Even when things got fantastic, they still went to school, went home, and had jobs. So in Pripara, the idols exist in a virtual world, separated from reality by a gate. This allowed the series to balance both the grounded school and home life with a fantastic idol world. Each episode explores different girls finding their place in Pripara. According to Yamamoto, even if you don't stand out in school, there's a place where you can shine. This spirit makes the show very approachable for children, and to date, it's still quite progressive despite a few pitfalls. Every character's unique qualities are treated as a strength. This is very different from Pretty Rhythm before it and Aikatsu. Both lean much closer to their sporty inspiration, and thus competition, hierarchy, and worthiness are slightly more prevalent themes. Moving on. According to Shinichiro Oba, a producer at Takaratomi, the game and anime were developed simultaneously. This meant that the designs were streamlined and fleshed out with the anime team. He gives a lot of credit to director Moriwaki for her unique creative vision. And just looking at Lala's design, you get the feeling they were going for. There's a pretty wild gap between her human form and the idol form. This tiny elementary schooler becomes a tall girl with massive twin tails. The gap between the girl and the idol is quite magical girl-esque, which does feel appropriate. Considering she may be inspired by Creamy Mommy, it's fun to see such an old pillar of magical girl canon play a role. Pripara doesn't really feel connected to the series' sporty inspiration, but feels a lot closer to magical girl shows where there's a gap between the human and her regular life and then the idealized form in the idol. This gap is something that you see a lot of the characters wrestle with. There's Lala's first teammate, who is Mide. She's a strict disciplinarian in real life, but in Pripara she gets to be a preppy idol. There's also Sophie, who's a classy top idol in Pripara, but is secretly an exhausted, potentially disabled girl in real life. This was pretty lacking in Pretty Rhythm, where the characters were a lot more mature. The same is true for Aikatsu, whose characters act more like tiny adults and give children a view into the world of work. Tonally, Aikatsu is a lot more serious. I wouldn't call it dramatic, but there are less jokes. This is a serious business. This is a job. Take the series setting, Starlight Academy. While Pripara is a place for everyone, Starlight Academy is a rigid boarding school, where only a few students can make it in. Once accepted, they're pit against each other as rivals. The girls in Pripara usually get their new dresses through mystical means, but in Aikatsu, you have to earn all your major dresses. In an interview with Oba, he explains that focusing on a young girl becoming an idol was a way to appeal to children for a long time. Lala might be an elementary student, but if she went to Pripara, she could be the lead star, just like how real children could be the star by going up to the arcade machine. It's kind of marketing genius when you read these things because it is implied in the anime, but it's just nice to have an interview confirm some of the things we may have felt while watching the anime. In a different interview, Oba highlights the novelty of the arcade machine, particularly the friend ticket system, a printed card with a snappable piece that you could trade with your friends. I may be wrong because I didn't play the arcade, but I think when you scan your friend's ticket, they can appear in the game with you, which is just such great advertising. Overall, the Pripara project began as a collaboration between Avex, Sin Sophia, Takaratomi, and Tatsunoko Productions. The primary appeal was giving all girls a place to shine, the magical paradise known as Pripara. So that's how both Aikatsu and Pripara came to be. I initially wanted to cover every single aspect that's different, but those could make up their own videos. We covered Aikatsu's design philosophy in this video, but I've yet to make one for the Pretty series. This is partially due to the zany approach to Pretty series fashion. I've covered a few of the series, but I do think it gets wilder each season. As far as Pripara fashion goes, I would like to cover it in a separate video in the future, but this is more just an exploration of some interviews I've read. I love to read staff interviews because it always highlights why certain decisions were made, and I hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about how each series was made, specifically Pripara, because I think that's what this video is mainly about. I don't have as much knowledge on Aikatsu, but it is a series that I'm researching for the big rewatch. I'd love to cover it next year if I get the time. If you enjoy this content, be sure to support me on Patreon, and with that said, I will see you guys next time.